your health should never limit your life. Health is defined as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. There are different things that we do that improve the functionality of our bodies or reduce. So we want to start to stack beneficial things for your nervous system. It is kind of like priming your organs for enhanced function. So here we are talking about mindfulness and self-care, something that everybody needs, of course. And we have a big problem in healthcare, and the problem is that we are incentivized to be sick. Does our insurance pay when we're going to the gym? Yes or no? No. Does our insurance pay when we go to try losing weight? But if you need a surgery, if you need medication for the rest of your life, if you need, something major, your insurance pays for it. So we are incentivized for sick care rather than health care. And so we want to change that. We want to change that narrative. We want people to be thinking about their health more from the standpoint of their happiness, because we're ultimately not in the health business, we're in the happiness business. Are healthier people typically happier or unhappier in their lives? Yeah. Pretty easy, right? So what we want to do is essentially find ways to become happier in a system that doesn't incentivize that, right? In a system that doesn't give us that opportunity. We want to find opportunities for that. And so what Peg had asked me to do was to talk about some things that we can do from a mindfulness point of view and from a self-care point of view to help engender that for you all as professionals, but also for some of the people that may be in your companies, that may be in your families, little tips that you might be able to benefit from. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what mindfulness is, what that even means. We're going to do some self-care. I am biased. I'm an acupuncturist, so I'm biased towards using that system. And so we're going to be going through some different points that are really beneficial that you may be able to use as self-acupressure when you are at home, depending on what you have going on. And we're going to go through some different conditions, some different things that people may be suffering with, and how you might be able to add a tool into your toolbox of whatever else you're using to help combat that. Okay, and then at the end, if everyone is interested, I can do a quick meditation tutorial with everyone if you want to sit and kind of go through what that would be like, how to do it, what maybe is a couple of minutes a day, and how that might make a huge impact on your life. Sound good? So this is the definition that the World Health Organization has for healthcare, that health is defined as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity, right? So the World Health Organization is offering a different definition than what our health insurances are offering. Because if this was the definition that our health insurance offered, we would have a very different incentive program, right? And so what we want to do is follow this definition. I love this definition, right? This definition rocks. A complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. How do we move towards that? That's happiness, right? Happiness is moving towards that state. So we believe at HHA, and one of the things that we talk about is that your health should never limit your life. We know that that's not possible because health limits everybody's life. But we believe that we can move towards a place where your health will not limit your life. And at the very least, in stages, right? So what is a better stage than you are in today? What is a better stage than someone in your family's in today? Some of your friends? Where can we go that is a step up? And what that means is, what is it that you aren't able to do, or you think about, maybe I should skip that you'd like to be able to do? How do we get there, right? How do we move to that place so that your health is not limiting your life? And we think about it through the lens of 3 phases. So one of the challenges with health is that everyone wants it to happen like that, right? You want to start something and you want to be fixed. We've been trained that if you take a painkiller, your pain goes away. It doesn't really get to the root of your problem, right? But it does tend to fix your immediate concern. So if we're talking about true health, if we're talking about really getting to a place of happiness, then there are stages that we follow. The first one is relief or corrective, right? We want to feel better. So that's why we take painkillers or something that's going to help us feel better. But then we have to stabilize into a better place. We have to get to a place where you're the underlying issue is actually improving, and then we have to get it stronger. You have to actually start to get healthier, improve your longevity, start moving in that direction. And so that is really the way we see health. We don't see it as, I feel better today. We see it as, what am I heading towards? It's like your investment accounts, right? Your 401k, you're not touching until you're 65. But at 65, you're damn sure going to need that, right? And so what are we doing now that's going to engender a happy, healthy life as we move towards the end of our careers, as we move towards, different stages with our kids, et cetera? Does that make sense? Mindfulness is paying close attention to your experiences, your choices, and your observations, and then asking why. Right? Why do I do this? Why am I choosing this? Why am I making this choice? Mindfulness is simply that. It's just paying closer attention to the choices that we're making, and then acting not on the first whim, but on the reflection of what that is. And then the action is taking part in practices that activate the awareness of the above. Right? Your observations, your choices, and your experiences, why you're having those, okay? So what is something that you could do? What is something that you do that activates the awareness of paying closer attention to your experiences, your choices, and your observations? There are certain practices that many of you do in your day-to-day life. Somebody name one for me.
Meditation.
Meditation is good. Gift bag for her, first participant. See, this is what happens when you step up. Nice job. So meditation is a great one. Meditation is one way of becoming closely attuned to your environment, right? Because you're shutting out all of the external, inputs that you have in that moment to try to become more aware of what's happening underneath. So fantastic. What else? Something else that would be a mindful practice. Journaling is a great one, right? So you are, hang on, sorry. She gets one too. Yeah. This is not just a one trick pony here, yeah. So journaling is a way of doing what? When you journal, what are you doing?
Just reflecting, I think, and taking time to really think and digest what's happened
throughout
that day.
Fantastic, right? Instead of just jumping to the next activity, we're actually reflecting on what we did that day or that experience, and why. And it makes you think about why you did it, why you like it, what you don't like about it, how that's going to affect your choices in the future, instead of just on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. So that's awesome. So anything else in the mindful category?
I don't know if this would be one, but therapy, group therapy, talking to someone.
100%. Yeah, that's bag worthy. I think that's bag worthy, don't you think? Yeah. That's it. This is it. There are things that the healthcare system is changing, right? It is covering therapy in a lot of cases. There are programs at many of your work sites that incentivize going to the gym. But by and large, the system as a whole is not set up that way. That's what we're kind of going uphill against, right? So when you go to a therapist, it's kind of like journaling, but you're getting a reflection back from someone else, right? And that's really valuable. So when you're journaling, it's called what we call first-person experience, right? Remember the pronouns from high school, right? I, we, it, right? So an I experience, because it's reflecting on my experience, and that is one way of reflection. Therapy is a we experience. It's about what do you see as my therapist reflecting back to me? That's really valuable. It's a different feedback system, right? So your health is dependent on multiple types of feedback, and that's why you're going to get to a better, happier place when you have them mixed into your life. So that's great.
This is something kind of different, but I struggle with weight loss
Yeah.
and maintaining weight. So keeping a food diary and getting on the scales,
Yeah.
daily, just to kind of see what you did and what you need to do better.
Yeah, that's all.
That's kind of the same thing.
So here's why I'm going to give you a bag, because most people that are checking their weight don't like to get on the scale. So this is, right? Am I right?
Oh, I do.
So it's actually really valuable, because what you're doing is you're confronting yourself, right? You're confronting something about yourself that you want to change. And so, we all know that the best way to get to the result is not to avoid it, is to take it on, right? And so, being willing to, it's a mindfulness practice because you're looking at it every day. It's refreshing your mind about what's going on, right? So that's fantastic. Yeah.
I think working out is different for everybody, but for me specifically running, I mind map when I run, that's when I walk my dog, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm journaling in my brain.
Fantastic. So activities like working out that help you, do you guys mind passing that back for me? Actually, I'll walk it back. It gets me up and moving. This is good. This is good. Yeah, this is good. Sure, sure. So when you work out, when you're doing things that you know are specific activities, when you can let go of your mind, or you can focus on something, right? It gives her mind space to focus on something else because she's not fixing a problem, doing work, doing something at home, helping with homework, all those things that we all do. It's giving her the space to think about how to organize that. Your brain needs time to reorganize. That's one of the other benefits of meditation. It actually, there's a lot of research on how it compartmentalizes the aspects of our life and files them in a correct, organized way. But when you jump from activity to activity, your brain never gets that chance. Even in sleep, sometimes it doesn't get that chance. It's waking reorganization that is the most effective for your brain. So meditation, working out, doing something that is not where you're not having to solve a problem. That allows your brain to reorganize. So that's a great one. I'll take like two more and then we'll jump on. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, outside, this may be getting away from it, but getting away from the me and reminding yourself why you're grateful and thankful for being.
Beautiful, beautiful. If you guys didn't hear that, she's talking about why you're grateful, right? So gratefulness, we actually call it a gratefulness practice, believe it or not. It's a practice that a lot of people do of saying what you're grateful for every day, right? Finding a time in your day where you're going to just repeat either, one big thing, or multiple little things, or combination, right? Figure out what, start with just one big thing. What am I most grateful for in my life? And just say it every day. Even if you think it's obvious, if you say it every day, it starts to reinforce that. And so we're reinforcing positive things into our brain as opposed to what's wrong with the world. It's very easy to figure out what's wrong with the world, right? I mean, we just had an election yesterday. 50% of the country is very unhappy, and 50% of the country is very happy. So you are pretty much unhappy today, depending on what happened yesterday, right? So we have to actually talk to ourselves and remind ourselves why that's not true. Why the happiness part is really valuable. And a gratitude practice is a great way to do that. It's a really, really important and valuable way to do that. The news, everything is kind of geared towards what's wrong with the world. We have to be stewards of. So you guys get a sense of what that means. You have to choose. You have to choose what it is that goes in and how you metabolize that, right? So gratitude is a great way to do that. Mindfulness, yes.
Mine is that my husband and I are kind of accountability partners for each other.
Mhm.
So, like, for example, if we want to go out to eat, and I'm like, oh, let's just grab fast food, quick and easy. If he'll jump in and say, oh, well, why don't we do X, Y, Z? It's healthier. Like, kind of challenging each other to be better, but in a positive way.
Beautiful, beautiful. So human relationships, finding relationships. Who knows this saying that goes, you're a product of the 5 people that you spend the most time with? Have you guys heard that? So if your partner is somebody that is really supportive in that, that's one really big person that is helping you to take the next step in whatever you're trying to achieve. Here are some other ones that maybe we didn't mention. So a lot of people use prayer for this, right? Prayer is a really good way of becoming mindful about your relationship to whoever that person is or thing is that you are praying to. Gratitude we talked about. Silence we talked about. I separated silence and meditation. They're actually 2 different things. I mean, you can meditate with a purpose of meditation and trying to get to this meditative place. Sometimes it's just helpful to sit in silence, which how many people feel super uncomfortable when you're sitting around a table and it's silent, right? I mean, it is very uncomfortable. I have gone on some silent meditation retreats where you literally sit around a lunchroom and there's this many people at the table and no one is talking to each other, but it's designed that way. And even then, it feels uncomfortable, right? We are in a culture of relationships and we want to be in relationships, but silence allows that reintegration of your brain. It really just helps your brain to reintegrate. Deep breathing is a great one that we can talk more about if people have questions, but there's a number of different breathing techniques that are very simple that can help to reset your parasympathetic nervous system and your sympathetic nervous system in a way that has an almost immediate impact. And there's many, many studies on breath work comparing it to different medications, anxiety medications that are on par with the same results. So. And then just, the one that I like the most is curiosity. When you are curious, then you are asking yourself questions. You're asking yourself why things are happening, why you're choosing something, why you're doing things. We often we've lost a little bit of curiosity in our culture, right? We think we know a lot, or we are so busy that we just set a routine and we don't stray from it. And taking time to literally sit back and question why we might be doing something and just being curious about it is incredibly, incredibly valuable. So self-care, when we are talking about self-care, there's lots of different things. This is a huge, huge, huge category, right? Today we're going to talk about it specifically through the lens of acupressure. Acupuncture is the insertion of a needle into different points in your body, and that's I don't know who would do that. That is crazy. It's very uncomfortable. It's very odd. No one wants to get acupuncture, right? Who wants a needle in their body? But acupressure is very easy. You just have to press on the spot, and it's something that anybody can do. It is kind of like priming your organs for enhanced function, right? So what do I mean by that? The body is one, so when you think about things through the bias of holistic medicine, which is what we do, the body is completely one integrated machine, for lack of a better word, right? It's more than that. It's energy and it's thoughts and all that affects your body. But let's just, for the sake of conversation, you have a machine and you need it to function at a high level, right? There are different things that we do that improve the functionality of our bodies or reduce, just like our lawnmower. If you don't put the right gas in, it's a lot harder to start. If you don't put the oil in, I'm terrible with lawn care, so just, if I say the wrong thing, just forgive me for that. Then it doesn't start, right? If you let it get rusty, then you have a problem because the blade doesn't work as well and it doesn't cut your grass. And so all of these things are about how you take care of that machine. And so with self-care, there's lots of different things to do, but what we're all looking for are things that are easy, inexpensive, quick, and that make a difference. Most importantly, that make a difference, right? Most people can get over the other three if the last one is true, which is, does it make a difference? And acupressure is a very simple way of making a quick difference in your life. This is the first question we usually get, which is, how do you do it, right? The simplest way to do it is to just take a point that I'm going to show you some different points today, and you press and hold that spot for anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes to the point where you feel pressure, right? You want to feel something. If you don't feel anything, if you just put your hand on there and you just hold the spot, that doesn't have as much of an impact as when you feel a little bit of a pressure. So it engages your body internally, okay? We tell people when we are giving people homework to do this 1 to 3 times a day, or 1 to 3 minutes about 5 times a day. Just the same way that you get up from your computer after every hour, right? Your Apple Watch goes off and it's like, oh, time to stand. And you go, oh God, here we go again. How did I just sit for that long, right? And then you get up and you walk for a couple seconds and you're like, oh my God, it still says time to stand. I got to keep walking, right? How many more minutes do I have to walk for, right? So finally you get to that point. Well, while you're doing that, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, you can press on this point that is really good for your sinus congestion. And you can do this at the same time. So we want to start to stack beneficial things for your nervous system. stacking activities that are going to be beneficial is really, really valuable. So 1 to 3 minutes, 5 times a day, super easy. Every time that thing says time to stand, get up, walk for a minute, press the spot that we're going to go through. Okay. There's a couple different techniques that I will briefly talk about today. The simplest one is press and hold. That's almost always going to work, but we're going to go through that one. Now, the way that I set this up was I have like 20 different things that people may have, and I was going to just pick which one based on what you guys say. But now they're in order, and I don't know how to do that without getting out of the slide projection. So I'm going to just go to the next slide, and I'm going to ask people, if you guys have this or something similar, and then we'll go over it. So, brain fog. This is an easy one. Everybody's got a little bit of this sometimes, right? What are some things that might cause you to have brain fog? Lack of sleep. That's the most common one, right? That's for sure. And it could be you might have an actual, condition. You might have an autoimmune condition. You might have fibromyalgia. You might have Lyme's disease. Some of these things cause brain fog as well, right? So this is a super easy one. You can see this is your hand, and the points that we use are in the knuckle closest to your palm. The one in the middle of your fingers, that's your key spot, okay? And what we tell people to do is jab your own fingernail into your fingertip and then down to the middle knuckle, and then go to the next finger. Jab to the point where you feel it, right? You feel like somebody's sticking you with your own fingernail, right? And you just and then you go the other hand. And what this does, and the reason that this is effective, is that the fingertips have some of the most intense nerve endings in the body. Why? Why would that be? To feel stuff, right? Like a hot stove, for example. You'd want to know that very quickly, right? And so if you're getting cold, they tend to get cold first, so they give you that feedback, right? So they go right to your brain very, very quickly, the fingertips down to this knuckle here in the middle of your finger. So if you are walking around, time to stand, okay? You're walking around and you just fingertip, into the middle knuckle right there, okay? And just keep doing it for about 1 to 3 minutes while you're walking around. Still says time to stand, keep walking. And then you keep doing it again, okay? And so what that's going to do is it's just going to help wake up. It's going to add oxygen to your brain, and it's going to immediately give that feedback from the nerves that are quickest to react to your brain, okay? So I'm a big fan, if you haven't gotten the gist yet, of quick, easy, effective. That's really what we're looking for. Like, how do we get to that place where we can make the biggest impact in the shortest amount of time? Make it easy, no problem. Okay? Yeah?
I'm not sure if I have this technique, and I need this.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. So all you have to do, take this thumb, press into your fingertip,
Okay.
and then press again all the way down till you get to that middle knuckle.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Keep going. Just press, press, press. Fingernail right in there.
Fingernail. Okay.
Got it?
Okay.
And like she said, if you have arthritis or if you have something with your fingers that you can't quite get there, just use your other hand, no problem. This is digestive health and constipation. This is a common one that we use, and this actually came from pediatrics. So kids, this happens all the time. We have babies come in, right? And the mothers are like, oh my God, they haven't pooped. What am I going to do, right? So this is a problem. I mean, this is a real challenge. And so when they're on formula, especially when you switch them over from breast milk to formula, they often get constipated right away. So you literally press, you follow the arrows, right? And you just press in to each arrow. Now, you can do this on yourself. It doesn't have to be for babies. You didn't want everybody to feel uncomfortable if you're experiencing this yourself. But you can press in, and you really get into the point where your first knuckle is actually pressing into your abdomen, okay? You don't want this to, don't just kind of like go like this, okay? Get in there and really get your finger into that space, and then just keep coming. I'm using my other hand just to get in a little further, right? So you just get in there, and I will tell you, your kids, they will not care about this. It will not bother them. You're going to go like, ooh, I don't want to press that hard. they will be happy that you're doing it because it will really stimulate their intestinal function. And basically your intestines go in this direction. They go, they come up, they come across, and then they come down. And so if you encourage that movement, it really helps. One of the biggest reasons for backed up, digestion is that there is a block. It's almost like the muscles of the intestines they're just not. It's called peristalsis, but they're just not actually moving in a strong enough way to keep things moving through your system. So press on each arrow all the way through. Okay? Nobody's doing it. Does that mean you guys are pretending like you don't have this, or what's going on here? Start on your right side and then come up, across, and down. So this is for foot pain. So there's lots of different pain that people have, And one of the hardest ones to deal with is foot pain because we're on our feet all day. And even if you're not, when you sit for a while and then you go and stand up, now it's really bad because you haven't been moving, and right, and then you get this little hop thing that you have to do when you get started. So there's two easy things to do for this. What this position is, you don't have to go down quite this far as this guy's doing. That's a deep squat, but you see how his heels are up off the ground. His heels are up, and he has a rolled towel under his heels. And then he's just squatting a little bit. So he's down like this, right? The deeper that you can squat comfortably and holding a table, holding a chair, this is the best way to do it. My toes are down and they're having to spread apart because my heels are up in the air. And what it does is it just opens up your foot. We wear shoes all day, right? Well, now most of us are working from home, so maybe you don't, but feet and foot health and the ability to spread your toes apart is something that is hardly ever talked about. Those of you that do yoga, maybe you've heard this before, but that practice of separating out your fingers, separating out your toes is extremely beneficial if you have arthritis in your family, if you have plantar fasciitis or foot pain in your family, if you have neuropathy in your family, if you're pre-diabetic. It's really because that will eventually get to your toes, and so you want to keep blood moving through your toes. You want to open up the space, allow more fluid to get through there. So this is really, really valuable position to get into. You just go down, one, okay, stay there for a few seconds, and then come right back up, and then back down again, right? And you just, you're working your knees a little bit too there. So you got to be careful if you have knee pain.
Well, I was going to say, what if you got bad knees?
So if you have bad knees, then you just don't go down as far. So you go on your tiptoes, put something under it. If you just stand on your tiptoes, it puts a lot of work into your calves. So if you don't want that, and you're just doing this for your feet, roll up a bath towel and put it under your heels, and then just step on that, but so that your toes are down and you're spreading out your toes. Does that make sense? Okay, and that way you can kind of get around this kind of squat. The squat forces your foot to open up, but you can work around it if you can't get down that far. And also if you have knee pain and you can't do this, that's why I put this other point in here, which is, I'm not going to demonstrate, but it's basically halfway between your heel, the ankle bone, and the knuckle in your toe. All right, and you just press in, and again, I'll send this to everybody so you guys can see it, but just press and hold, right? Press 30 seconds, and a minute to 3 minutes, and then let go. And you do that 5 times, right? So that, and the reason why that's valuable is because it's right in the middle of your foot. So there's nerves going in both directions, and you're stimulating movement. You're stimulating blood flow, and you're stimulating nerve conduction in both directions. There's 2 good things that you can do for hip pain, okay? First off, there's a point in your hip. It's right, it's the hardest spot in the bone at the top of your hip, okay? You want to jab your fingernail into that, okay? That spot, where that bone is, there's a bunch of nerves right around that bone, yeah? And you want to just jab your fingernail into that and press, okay? And what you're going to feel is, you're going to feel almost like a sharpness. You should feel a little sharpness right into that spot. And you want to hold that for a minute, okay? And then let go. That's what we call a local spot for your hip. You felt it? That's probably the most effective one. Then you want to talk. Then there's other. If it's front hip, if it's back hip, we have different ones for different aspects of the hip. And so we can get into more specifics afterwards. But there's a spot in the front of the hip that if you follow down, you want to press on at the top part of the knee actually. And so if your hip pain is actually coming across towards the groin, then you want to press here. Okay, and that's going to release the whole muscle group that comes up into your hip. Okay, so carpal tunnel, right where you have your wrist. So carpal tunnel, you want to follow, there's 2 tendons in your wrist crease, okay? In front of, meaning like towards your elbow. And you should press and you should feel pressure go into the base of your hand, right? That's the spot there. You don't want to go right into the spot because it's already inflamed. You want to come behind it. Does that make sense? So you're stimulating movement. We're always trying to stimulate movement around issues. So migraines is a really good one to pay attention to for a couple reasons. There's a couple different types of migraines that people will get. So where do you get your migraines?
They usually.
Yeah, this way, right? This is the most common, and that's what this point is for. So those migraines are coming for one of a couple reasons. They're either coming from neck tension, right? That's where a lot of people get them from, or they're just congenital. They're just a condition that you have because the way that blood is flowing into the arteries in your cranium is too much, and it's either too much or too little, depending. So what we're going to do, you're going to take this spot right behind your ear, and you're going to slide over. There's a bone here that you're going to slide over. So put your fingers right behind your earlobes, and then slide back until your fingers sink into that spot right behind your head. Do you feel that? Does everybody feel that? So that is the migraine headache spot, especially if they're coming to the sides of your head. Okay? So that is, and again, press 1 minute. Okay? Good pressure. You should feel it. It shouldn't feel like, it feels amazing. No, you should feel it, right? And then, let go. And then keep, okay, 1 minute. Time says, it doesn't say stand anymore. All right. I'm going to give you guys the choice. I can either go through another couple of these, or we can do a quick meditation. Raise your hands if you want to do a couple more of these. I think meditation it is. All right. So go to your belly button, okay, and put 2 fingers from your belly button, okay? 2 or 3, depending on, let's just say 2. 2 fingers from your belly button, and then you're going to actually jiggle the spot. All right? I know, no one wants to do this, right? But that you actually want to stimulate this with jiggling. Okay, this point, if you press it, for most of us, even skinny people, you can't get to the spot. You have to actually stimulate it so that it reverberates from the outside in, because the abdomen just has more fat tissue for all of us, right? So you have to shake it. So you shake that spot. All right? Same thing, 1 to 3 minutes. I know no one wants to do it. I know, it's okay. 1 to 3 minutes, but listen, when you're working from home or in your office and that thing goes and no one's, no problem. Look, I'm not going to tell you that you can go eat cheeseburgers all day and just shake your belly, and it's all going to go away, What we're talking about are additional tools that help in a big picture, right? So your big picture is, right, what are you eating? How's your exercise? How is your stress? And what are some things that you can stimulate in your body that naturally induce metabolic function? So all of this is about how do we raise the level of function in our bodies, right? There's lots of things that can do that, but one of the main ways that we can raise the level of function in our metabolic system is by stimulating the nerves that activate your metabolism. And so that's what we're doing. We're stimulating, in this case, acupuncture points that are near nerves that add to the efficiency and the effectiveness of your metabolic function. So not something that you do every day, right? You might say, oh, I'm not going to eat that cupcake, or you might say, oh, I'm gonna run an extra couple, I'm going to walk an extra, block today. There's things that we kind of naturally do, but we don't, and that's why I thought this would be fun for us to look at, because This is an additional tool that very few people use, but that can be very effective and really help get you over the hump if you've plateaued, if you aren't getting to a place that you want to get to. Adding another tool in is the way to do that. All right, so meditation. So real quick, preparation is, this is the meditation room that I chose, okay? It's not very fancy. There's no statues. You don't have to have, perfect, view of the ocean or, be at the top of a mountain when you do this, right? This is the University of Miami meditation room. I didn't go there, but I just thought it was nice how simple it was, right? You just need a seat, you need some time, and you need yourself. That's all you need, okay? And then there's only 3 steps. This is all you need to know. You have to stay relaxed, you have to sit still, and you have to pay attention. Pay attention means that if you fall asleep, you're not meditating, you're sleeping, right? So that's okay. We need naps too. But meditating is about increasing your awareness of what's around you, right? Becoming more mindful and letting go of the things that are harbingers for us, that we're just carrying, We want to practice, just like we practice gratitude every day, right? If every day you took 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and you just intended to sit and let go of everything that was a problem, but also everything that's not a problem. It's okay to just let go of the good stuff too. The idea is you're just opening up yourself as a vessel, right? That's what we're doing. So when you pay attention, it just means when you find yourself thinking about what you're going to get at the grocery store, that moment that you become aware of that you're thinking about that is your meditative moment. And then you just let it go. Okay, that's the last thing. I'm not gonna go to the dairy aisle now. I'm done. I'm not thinking about that. Okay. You don't have to have a Tibetan bowl, right? It doesn't have to be I set an alarm on my phone. Okay. Literally, I go to just like you guys do, and then we're gonna set a timer for 2 minutes. You want to integrate life. We don't want to separate ourselves from life. This is part of our life. Everybody knows it, right? So just use it. Use it for things like meditation. It's fantastic. So we're going to sit. You're going to sit up with your back as straight as you can get it, okay? And can you sit straight but relax? Can you do both at the same time? Right? That's the first thing. Then, can you sit completely still, even if you have an itch on your nose in the next 2 minutes? Even if, and the reason that that's valuable is because our intention at this point when we do meditation is to not be swayed by the little things, right? It's to let go of all of that. And if you can do it, you were training ourselves so that when you do have that person come running into your office that's like, I can't believe she said that to me, you have a position that we're practicing. We're practicing not scratching our nose because when the bigger things come, we want to have a context for it. Does that make sense? So that's where stillness comes in. And then we're just going to pay attention. If you find yourself thinking, if you find yourself going, this is total crazy, what are we doing here? It's only 2 minutes. You just have to let it go, right? Sound good? All right, so 2 minutes. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit through it just because, just so you can know what we're doing. But we're going to have periods of silence where I'm not going to say anything. When your mind says this is weird, just laugh. All right, here we go. So the first thing is to just check in and just make sure that your body's still relaxed. When you think that something is weird, you tighten up. And so we just want to kind of chuckle at that and just let your body relax. And you're sitting and you're totally still. And as thoughts are coming into your head, just let them float through like clouds. Put a little smile on your mouth. And we just have no relationship to any thought that may come through your head. Two minutes. Fast, slow. What did it feel like? Fast, really fast, right? So most people, when I talk to them about meditation, say, I can't sit still that long, right? I can't sit for 5 minutes, 10 minutes without doing anything. Well, you just did 2 minutes and it felt very fast, right? And the reason that it doesn't feel fast when you're doing it at home is because your mind wants to tell you that you have something better to be doing. That's why, right? There's always something else to do. There's always dishes, there's always laundry, there's always something, work, there's always something to do. So this is a discipline because when you get into the habit of doing it, it lets all of those other things operate better. The same way if you jiggle here, it will help your metabolism. It won't do everything, but it will help in addition to some of the other things that you might do. Okay, so this is all about finding ways to raise the level of expression of your own body, of your own mind, right? How do we live in a way where our health never limits our life? That's what we're talking about, right? And the way to do that is to find little ways to increase and raise your level of expression and be able to do that. So thank you all very much.